Swiggity sorty, let's get that booty.
Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to another week, another episode of the SlimCogcast. I am SlimCognito, and unfortunately, I'm black. I want to get right off into it, like I always say, because we got a lot to talk about. I have finally, first off, finished watching Dorohedoro, and I got a lot of opinion on it, and also about how wrong I was about it. Well, I wasn't exactly wrong, but I wasn't fair to it. Let's say that. I wasn't fair to the anime. So anyway, next, we played quite a bit this week. A bit of the Katana Zero stream. Been doing a lot of Rogue Company, as you've seen from last week's gameplay. And if you've been watching the streams, we've been playing a lot of Rogue Company. And also some Rocket Arena, which sadly after the free weekend, the queue times have been abysmal, and that really hurts because I really do enjoy that game. But we'll jump into all of that, and we got a lot of news. We're gonna also recap the PlayStation State of Play and to correct some news that dropped the very last week, the very last Monday when I recorded, when it was announced that the PlayStation 5 would be compatible with DualShock 4. So we're going to get into the details about that. Starting off, Dorohedoro, man. I said several times in several episodes of the podcast that anime is just fucking weird. All right. It's just weird. It's just downright weird. And the thing about it, though, is as I went on through it, I started to love the things that they were doing that usually anime can't or won't do. And I think that's what really made it feel a little uncomfortable initially, is because I've always wanted anime to be able to be more violent without overly censoring stuff or cutting scenes or big black splotch, covering half the screen, looking at you freaking what's the name of that stupid Tokyo Ghoul, looking at you Tokyo Ghoul missing out on a whole damn fight scene or half of the screen because y'all scared to show a little blood and body dismemberment. So that sucked ass. Meanwhile, we got Attack on Titan over here just letting shit go. Just all types of stuff happening. And I was super pissed about that. But anyway, to get back on topic, man, this anime is super. It ain't for the faint of heart. It ain't for the squeamish, okay? If you can't handle body dysmorphia and dismemberment or the fragmentation of the human body and internals and intestines brought on the outside, you can't handle that. Don't bother, okay? But if that's what you don't mind or like, if you don't mind that or like that, then I highly recommend you to check this out, because all of the characters become super charming after time. I'd say you have to at least get about 4 episodes in, maybe 5, but I'd say about that 4th or 5th episode, you're gonna be hooked. You're gonna be hooked, and you're gonna be like, okay, now I really want to know what's going on. Even in that, I still stand by the fact that the mystery behind who Kaiman and how he was changed into what he isn't really compelling enough to forward the plot, but it's good enough to give his character incentive to keep being him, and it's all right. It's enough. Not over the top. It ain't, knock it out of the park. Oh wow, super interesting, but it's enough. And I can't hate on it. But where this anime really shines is that every other character is written to be themselves in their own world, having their own story, but interacting with one another in the same world. By that I mean you're gonna eventually you're gonna want a happy ending for every character. Even the guy who you think is a big asshole rich millionaire who's overpowered and super lucrative and everything, you would think that the usual narrative would paint those guys as assholes, but then eventually you'll see, he's not that bad. As soon as you get his backstory, then you even more, you're gonna say, he's not terrible, he's all right, and that is good writing, great characters all around. I've never thought that you could really feel bad for or sympathize. I could sympathize with, or I'd say empathize rather, with a big spender, Daddy Warbucks, huge corporation, Paul marketing type of guy. Like that right there is a hallmark achievement. So I'm gonna get into a few details, and this is where the spoilers begin. If you haven't watched it, actually no, I won't go into spoilers. Correction. I'm just gonna mention that this is an anime that is filled with good humor. Um, Despite it being 3D CG animated, very well animated, and the art style and visuals that they chose lend a lot to it. It looks great. Like it's not like they. The reason CG is hated mostly in all other anime, in my opinion, in my humble subjective opinion, is that usually up until, for like some years when CG was first popping off, they would just plant 3D model and animation on top of 2D drawn backgrounds and literal flat surfaces under the layer of these 3D models, and it was super jarring and very ugly. Kind of like, I hate to say it, even though I loved it, Overlord. But when you consider this anime, what they chose to do was they didn't just half-ass it. I think they CG animated even the environments, so everything fits and it doesn't look jarring, and it's not bad at all. Like, it took me back to harken back to like the days of watching like maybe the Canadian 3D animated TV shows, like, Reboot maybe, which really does deserve a remaster, remake, and a re-release for the original and a continuation of the seasons. But yeah, I don't mind this design choice when it comes to anime. So super support that. And the only thing that hurts me the most about it, because the music is phenomenal, the animation is great, fight scenes are great, characters are great, the script is great, and it's very funny. So, and it's entertaining, and a good plot is very interesting. Great world building, super unique and interesting. So it checks all the boxes. The only thing that I can gripe about out of this anime is the fact that it ended on a cliffhanger with only one season. So hopefully we're gonna get a second season. I think it came out this year, if not 2019. I can't recall. But yeah, hopefully we're going to get a second season. And judging by the credits, since I've watched the EDs several times, looks like it was in association with Netflix on its release, which is probably why it wasn't censored so heavily. But yeah, man, streaming is such a double-edged sword, but it's so much more good out of it than bad. Because now we don't have to worry about the restrictions of these networks when it comes to age ratings and censorship. We get to get the media in the original form that the artist intended, and that's beautiful. Or at least the creator or original visionary intended, and that's incredible. And it's a great time to be alive in that sense. So yeah, Dorohedoro, super enjoyable, and I loved it. Now, moving on from there. What we played this week, like I said, I've been streaming a lot of Rogue Company. I remember originally I said it needs a little bit of balance, because one of the things about a lot of the mechanics is they did good to try to pre-balance it before release. They did really good with that. But some characters just outshine other characters, like plain and simple. Game knowledge is enough to, circumvent a lot of the advantages that some characters have. But the biggest thing that we see in a trend in terms of game balance is you don't just nerf everybody to be safe against any other. You make everybody have one way or one thing, maybe one and a half things about that character that makes them OP, but it's only useful in specific situations. So that way you're charging each player with their decision making in the game rather than their character choice. So I see the design philosophy in this one to be heavily inspired by the achievements and balance that Overwatch has inspired. And I guess Valorant wasn't really a thing by the time this game was well into the last stages of its development. So yeah, this Rogue Company, I think that it probably, if Valorant didn't hit, it would have been the biggest game yet. What I really want to see is some people like Shroud and the others, get a hold of it, see what they can do. Dr. Disrespect now that he's back, things like that. But Rogue Company is pretty fun, and I enjoy it. And the only rifle that's good in the whole fucking game is Saint's assault rifle. I'm not sure what type it is. I don't know if they actually, yeah, they don't really put the real names of the guns in the game, if I recall correctly, unless I'm just having a brain fart. But if I recall, his assault rifle is something like an M4A1 or something, custom. And, you know, as you upgrade it, you add more attachments and whatnot, extended mags and things or scopes, and it works out super good. One of the best things that I know and the best advice that I can give anybody out there that is playing Rogue Company or are playing Rogue Company, any of the ones out there that are, in every third person shooter, your best friend is hipfire. Do not ADS unless you are shooting someone far, far off in the distance or you're using a sniper rifle. Other than that, 9 times out of 10, especially if it's close quarters to mid range, never ADS. Never, 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 never. This is actually good advice even on first person shooters, but in order to compensate so FPS games don't get too, you know, easily abusable, they usually have a wider bullet spread on hip fire when it comes to first person shooters in order to balance out, you know, the use of hip fire and ADS. So, you know, to call for more precision in how they shoot from the players. But in general, third person shooters have pretty accurate hip fire, especially when Saint's maximum upgraded rifle has increased hip fire accuracy. So you could just basically play around corners and just become a god in no time, as long as your aim is good though. So yeah, keep that in mind, okay? Next, I've been playing some Katana Zero, and that game is amazing. It's like somebody said, "Hey, Slim, we know you a weeaboo." Yeah. Well, guess what? We also know you like Hotline Miami. Yeah, I do. And guess what? What? We also know that you like cryptic and very thinly veiled, but only implied story plot points until everything is revealed at the end. So convoluted plot, you say? Mm-hmm. Weeaboo stuff, right? Mm-hmm. Hotline Miami gruesomeness and amazing soundtracks with that retro wave? Mm-hmm. Boy, give me that and inject it into my veins. I need it. And I got high off of Katana Zero. Boy, I streamed that game for a good, 3 to 4 hours? Straight running through. Yo, the original character, super interesting, real fun. You know, the tortured backstory character, we don't really know much about him. It's not that new, you know, of a premise when it comes to ground this tread of narratives. But as it goes on and it fills itself out, it becomes a very unique narrative on its own right. I can't think of anything else exactly like it, except for Hotline Miami. But they handle it well. They don't exactly rip it, you know, they make it their own thing. And once you think the game is coming to a head and about to end, boom, they just throw a curveball at you and it's just all new shit at you, and it's just beautiful. So, which is, yeah, I guess they kind of did that with Hotline, but not exactly. So anyway, enough of the comparisons. This game is amazing, super good, great visuals. Y'all know I got a soft spot for anything that's a side scroller with some sprites or pixel art, you know, style choice, and I love that shit. And this game hits that mark very well. The things and the themes and, you know, subplots are very interesting, good stuff. It's got a good sense of humor as well, a little bit of Easter eggs and whatnot. I remember there was one stage where I came across because it's like you're on a filming set, a video production set or a movie production set in the building, and on one set you come across a fake robot, and he just starts talking to you like, oh, all meat bags or flesh bags must be destroyed. I am a robot made capable only to destroy. So I've come to destroy and chew bubble gum, and I have plenty of gum. Like, you know, he would make those type of jokes. And one of the things he said was just a huge text box just jumped up with a lot of ones and zeros. And I'm like, wait, that's binary code. Let me go ahead and translate this real quick. So I hit the screenshot and translated it. And it just came out to say, sorry, no Easter eggs. Translated from binary to text. So there's that. But all in all, super good game. Loved it to death. Very enjoyable. Haven't finished it yet, so I can't give my full opinion on it. But yeah, thus far it's been dope. It's had several different, like, curveballs that they would do that you would not expect, but they did it anyway. That's the only type of love that you would see out of an indie developer, So loving that. Let me see. What else have I been playing with now? I had plans to start up a game of 20XX, which is supposed to be like some type of how can you say, roguelike Mega Man clone type of indie game, which seems dope and interesting. So I might check that out this week, because I booted it up, but then issues arose with its controller compatibility and whatnot. But we'll get to that eventually. Oh, and I've been playing Evil Land 2. That game is very quirky and interesting, and there's so many good references to it, and the overall plot, the way they handled the whole, if you remember my explanation of Evil Land 1 in last week's episode, in this week's episode, I'm going to explain to you how they turn that on its head. For those who have played Chrono Trigger, and the plot points about traveling through time, that right there was super interesting, the way they handled it. And that's how they're doing it in the second one. But this time, the spin is you travel through time, but every time you jump through time, you go from pixelated to 3D graphics and HD texture. And there's been several different game mode changes, from a shoot 'em up to a fighting game to, well, they haven't done a turn-based RPG just yet, but there's been some Zelda influence and just a lot of good, cool stuff. So you just, go ahead, check it out, and you would not be disappointed if you enjoy those type of things. There's even Professor Layton references, Diner Dash references, and, gameplay wise, like, these are gameplay references now. So, and I think they did a slight little bit of, I guess you could say, not Animal Crossing, but, I can't recall it, but basically the type of gameplay where you go and get a job and you build up enough money for doing the job in order to, get things that you need and make a living and whatnot, buying houses. But it's very, very short type of thing. They don't just fill and pad out the whole thing. It's all good. But yeah, further than that, I've also installed GTA 5 Premium Edition finally, and played like the first hour or so, and damn. Let me tell you something, that multiplayer online GTA 5 is overrated. I never needed it nor asked for it. Like, it was fun fooling around with, San Andreas online mods and whatnot. But GTA 5? Boy, this story is amazing, and it's so relatable. Everything about Franklin is just so relatable, growing up in, I guess you could say, quote unquote, how can I say this for my I'm trying to make this a color thing, but for my suburban audience. Growing up in low income and impoverished areas, aka hood areas, and having associates and friends who are from those areas, but they mean well, they just grew up in a different environment, so they're slightly different from you, but y'all still, you grew up together. Y'all went to school together. It's a crazy, it's such a parallel that relates to me and speaks to me, and that story in GTA 5 is just golden. It's amazing. It's A1. It's 10 out of 10. But I don't have to really talk about that too much, because y'all know about the story, but I love it, and I don't think I've played GTA 5 since about maybe 4 months after it was released, 4 or 5 months after it was released, initially on the PS3. So PS3 copy, yes, but never played it on PS4 onward. So this is my first time playing it with, updated textures, frame rate, all of that. So that's nice. And I had underestimated just how efficient it is of a game, considering it was made for a weaker hardware, because I hadn't even maxed this thing out. Like, I hadn't yet maxed out this graphics card, but it is putting out the power. It's putting out the power. So yeah, GTA 5, pretty good stuff. Now, what else have I? Let me check Steam real quick, because I'm losing. Oh, my first time playing VR chat, bro. I didn't even plan on playing this shit. Like, to be real with you, like, I was just scrolling along, and I saw some videos of Seymour, however you pronounce it, on YouTube, which is some pretty insightful content. And I saw a few webms, floating around, some videos floating around on the internet about VR chat, and I said, you know what? let me look into it. And I was like, huh, it's free? Okay. And then I thought about it. I said, you know what? Let's just give it a shot. Let's give it a try. And let me tell you, I cannot stress enough just how deep, like, not like, okay, this is not my first time like doing a 3D chat room thing. Like I've tried way back in the day, you remember IMVU and other things like that, you know. So it's interesting to see this new evolution of it, and the people you meet, even though they're using avatars and, you know, role playing a lot. That community, these people are being more of themselves than you would think. Like they're so comfortable with being themselves because they don't have to be their real life. Like their ego is free to express itself, and it's very insightful. Like this is what I've gathered from it. And it's almost intoxicating even. It's intoxicating because the urge to role play is very strong with the environments and servers that they make, the fan made content. So you can, it's got that edge of being made by the people for the people. You have these avatars that you can just switch between in seconds. So it makes so much sense, and it's an amazing experience. I think at one point I used to hate on it. Like I don't think I've ever just directly hated on it, but I used to just like, it's not for me anymore. I lied. I was wrong. Like I thought that that I shed that part of me, that urge when I left the IMVU chats and things in the past. But man, this right here it's insane. I still remember it brings back so many memories. It makes me feel like I'm fucking 14, 15 again. Like I'm fucking around on chat rooms at 3 a.m., going to bed at 4, waking up at 6, and going to school, and then band practice, and getting home at like 7, 8 o'clock, and doing it all over again. Literally functioning day after day off of like 3 hours. Since it takes me back to those days. I was playing VR chat, bro. And the only thing I knew is I installed it, found out how to use it properly, booted it up, connected, and then I looked up and like 4 hours were fucking gone. like 4 hours disappeared from my life and Earth existence. Like it's insane. And like I think I spent like an entire 45 minutes or more exploring a fucking server that was modeled a full 3D remodel of Kmart. And it's not exactly 1-to-1, but it's very fucking close. Like it's so close that it was astounding just to walk around and look at shit and just pick shit up. Like it's amazing the functionality and time that these people put into. I love appreciating the works of game developers and creators. Even back in like the days of like the PS1 on up, when it's 3D gaming, I deeply appreciate when people model things to help with the immersion and build the world. Little things that help you believe that this might be a little more real, or believable. What's a good example? Oh, anybody that's old, y'all won't get this. But back on the PlayStation 1, there was a Namco title called Arcade Classic, and they had like 5 volumes of classic arcade separate game, like separate discs that you had to buy separate, and each one had a letter of Namco on it, and each one had some special 3D like walk around as Pac-Man in a museum to play the library of games and see the information about these games and their release and development, etc. And it was the coolest shit to me as a kid because I was learning about these games and their history in the arcades, and they would like make a 3D model of the original cabinet that the game was developed on and released with, or they would like the tabletop down arcade cabinets that I'd never gotten a chance to actually play on, and I always wished that I could. But where it's just a table with the TV screen in the table and a transparent glass on top of the table on the surface, so you can see the screen, and there was a controller on the opposite sides of the table so that 2 people can play against each other, shit like that. Like they would model full mini worlds of each one of these games, so you can walk into these worlds and walk up to the arcade and play that shit. It was so, and this is the same type of This is the same type of appeal that I get with these, and it's dope, bro. I couldn't get enough. That time just disappeared. Like there was whole sections where you could literally go in the Kmart into the photo section and take pictures with screenshots or what have you, or whatever, you know, if you're on VR or whatnot, or PC, and take, you know, pictures with your friends. Or you could, like, you know, walk over to a certain the whole clothing section, of course, is the different avatars that you can equip and apply to your character model, and that's super creative. So the clothing section is literally a clothing section. Like stuff like that is super creative. They even have the little intercoms where you like buzz in for like help in this section requested, you know, stuff like that. And fucking, it's just dope, man. It's so much love and details put into it. So yeah, if you fool around in VR chat, and you may already know about this. This was my first time playing VR chat, even though it's like 2 years old, whatever, you know, or is it older than that? I think, I'm not sure. I can't. Yeah, it's old, but it's new to me, and that's super amazing. If you haven't played it or fooled around with it, it's free, don't cost much, and it's like less than 400 megabytes to install. Make sure you have extra hard drive room though, because when you join other servers, you have to download the local server files, you know, like textures and whatnot and sound files. So it could be anywhere between, you know, upwards of, I guess the most could be probably 500 to a gigabyte for one room that you would join, and most would be about, say, 30 to like 120 megs, you know, for the joiner room. So it's just super interesting, and the role play incentive is super strong. Even though I resisted it this time, I'm still looming. When I open my Steam, I'm looming and afraid to, like, if I click that shit again, I might end up going full RP mode, and that's gonna be hella scary. And I gotta keep a mindset because I'm on a grind here. But still, it might be fun to like drop in if I can learn my, you know, wrap my head around to get the proper self-control. Then it might be funny, you know, set up a little, you know, community thing. If I can get some people together and y'all willing to get together, do some VR chat role play, since, you know, the GTA 5 role play is kind of big out here, so that might be doable. So yeah, that's basically the things that I've been playing this week. Stuff just been, it's been all over the place with my, you know, game choices, but I'd say it ain't been bad, and there's more to come. Like I got there's endless content. I'm trying to fight against another update I want to give you all. I'm trying to fight against the urge to just play the trending game of the month, trending game of the week type of deal, because I don't want people to come to me for the games just because the trending games that I play, but I want them to come to me because of we're building a community here. And that's really the ultimate thing, because if I talk to my community and whatnot, I want to get a feedback from people who have not just a similar taste in games, but, you know, somewhat relative. So that way, even if they disagree with my opinions on certain games, I could consider a different angle. But if I'm just talking to people who's like, they don't care about stuff like that. They're just like, hey, play the latest game that's hot right now. That's what we come for. Stream this, stream that, you know. So, hey, but, that being said, this damn Fall Guys game has been getting really huge, and I think it was free on PlayStation Plus, so I could stream it, but I'm not exactly sure if I will. But I may give it a shot. Other than that, and I also want to report that the cross-platform Rogue Company is working just fine. Still a few bugs they got to work out, but it works pretty well. And there's more things coming from the update, because one of the things I wanted is to be able to refund weapons. Sometimes you would click something and not consider, like I would buy trip mines, and I'd be like, damn, they have a Dallas. I should have put that 4,000 on conceal so I can't be revealed by his ability, you know, stuff like that. So it's you know, updates coming, pretty good stuff. And also the bomb seems to be kind of a non-factor. I think it takes too long for it to detonate, and people are like really geared toward playing this shit like team deathmatch. So yeah, they might have to do something to make the bomb more prevalent, as a more prevalent presence on the map. Because if you consider like Valorant, the average move speed and the map's travel from one point to another point on the map's move speed is way vastly different from Rogue Company. It takes you longer to get from one side of the map to the other in Valorant than it would on Rogue Company, simply because of the sprint button for one, but also, you have your platforming options. You can actually, take zip lines and jump over walls and whatnot. So they might have to lower the time on the bomb in order to make it more of a, more of an objective worth caring about. Now, we've only done what I've watched and played this week in 30 minutes gone. That's crazy. But it's been a lot of interesting stuff going on. So let's keep it rocking and get right off into the news. First thing on the docket. Apple says cloud gaming services like Google Stadia and Microsoft xCloud violate App Store guidelines. Let me take a look at this. Okay. Now, Apple is basically complaining about the fact that these cloud gaming services are basically infringing on their guidelines and rules So the rules and guidelines for the Apple Store apparently have a problem with the fact that these services, these cloud gaming services, are actually a way to connect to. For those who don't know, let me explain this first before I get down into details. For those who don't know, the way cloud gaming works is there are servers that really just, I won't say translate, but they transmit your inputs to a server that sends those inputs to a foreign game console, which is the hardware that runs the game for you. But you are streaming the audio and visual of the game to your phone or your TV or your PC. So for instance, you're playing, say you want to play, you have your phone and you're playing Batman Arkham Knight. Okay, what that means is you're playing Arkham Knight on a Xbox One over in another, in a server room way off in the distance somewhere else over the internet. And they're sending you a live stream, one-to-one live stream, few millisecond difference, hopefully, if they ever get it right, but this is theoretically how they want it. A few milliseconds of difference in, the intervals of this information being exchanged. So that way you can play the game still without having to have the hardware that's able to run these powerful, beautiful games. So you'll be playing Skyrim, or let's say you'll be playing Fall Guys or whatever, these super high fidelity graphical games, Halo, on your phone or PC or laptop or whatever have you, or your tablet, without having to have the hardware necessary to run the games themselves. Now, because of this, the cloud gaming services and apps don't exactly, you're not buying the game when you use the app. You're not using the game itself, but you're using the service to get access to the game. So the games is not in the app itself, but the game is found through the app. It is a DRM or game distributor. And because it's a distributor rather than the game itself, then they say that this is the issue that they have with the cloud gaming services. Now, because of this, they cannot exactly classify these apps as games, nor can they police which games you will be playing, nor can they police what in-app storage or in-app game purchases or microtransactions for what have you, because you're going to have access to thousands of games, especially given the Xbox Game Pass service that's going to be included. So what you're going to have is people being confused as to what they're getting into when they play this Microsoft xCloud service or Google Stadia, if they're not aware of the details that cloud gaming provides. So unless they do some type of addendum to revise their rules and regulations of the App Store and make a separate section for cloud gaming, but just go ahead and not have it on the iOS at all. But in order for these, for the former thing that I've, the initial thing that I've offered, for that to be a thing, it would mean that cloud gaming would have to become more legitimate than it already is. And the biggest issue with cloud gaming is network speed. Not everybody has the same network speed. And unless fiber wire speeds are a standard in every North American home and household, really worldwide, until that becomes the new standard and no more DSL fail modem connections or whatnot, until fiber wire is a standard for every last home in the United States at least, but eventually the world, then this is not gaming, cloud gaming in general is not gonna hit those strides. Now, if they have something else in mind or something else planned to where they could actually improve upon the cloud gaming experience, then by all means. But as far as I've known in every example that I've seen in any review, it still sucks. So I'm not really worried about that. But that's something interesting to look out for, to see that the Apple people are going to be policing it. So any type of advances they make with this technology is going to have to depend on the Android platform solely and completely, which will probably give them more freedom to do more anyway. So, but that also just implies that the Android Google App Store is less policed and a little more Wild West. But who knows? That's a topic and a conversation for another day. Next on the docket, Blizzard employees have revolted as they anonymously share their paid data because they've apparently been skipping meals in order to afford rent. And Blizzard Entertainment has been skimping on paying them, doing the classic thing. Okay, they downsize the amount of employees, but they do not give a raise to the employees as they do increase their responsibilities and, you know, their job details. So basically, 10 employees, everybody does their part, then you lay off 7 employees, and the 3 left have to do all of the jobs of the 7 that was left plus their own job. But you don't give those 3 people a raise. That's asinine and it's trash. Just giving those less people a raise would not only give them an incentive to keep working there, but also it will cost them less than paying the rest of those workers. If you pay more to a lesser amount, then you would still come out paying out less per month or per pay period, than you would paying a large amount of people a lesser amount. You know, incrementally, depending on the values that you set, incrementally you would be much better off. But they just don't want to do right. And Bobby Kotick, being a CEO in the industry, was still one of the most overpaid CEOs in the industry. As in his compensation last year topping $30 million. Like that's ridiculous and insane. So I don't want to, I can't really say, but this is just tinfoil hat speak. So this is not facts, but it might be money laundering or some type of business front. Who knows? Anywho, next on the docket, Fall Guys has more players than Horizon Zero Dawn, Doom Eternal, and Sea of Thieves. So Fall Guys has been huge, like I said earlier, and on Steam it's been getting to like 120,000 concurrent players, which is beating out most of the PC sales, and it's been huge, not even including the PS4 versions, and it is available on several different platforms. Published by Devolver Digital and developed by Mediatonic, and they've been so swamped with new players since release that they had to put new servers and implement new servers like almost immediately. Like there was people crashing servers trying to connect, yo. So, which makes sense. I mean, hey, what else do you expect? Look, I must be like a Rick and Morty character. So, what else do you expect? What else do you expect when you have these, 50 to 60 people connecting into one lobby with varying pings? But this is what happens, and it's pretty cool. Nice concept. I'm not gonna hate. It's a 3D platformer battle royale. That's pretty damn interesting. And of course, nobody would take up this type of idea and publish it, put money behind it, aside from Devolver Digital. So super smart people, super intelligent. I love Devolver Digital. They're like one of my favorite modern day publishers, the ones that popped up recent. Like, they take risks on indies they have an eye for real good indie games that have potential. And they say, yo, I'm gonna put some money on that. And it hits. They almost never miss. Sometimes they miss, but they almost never miss. Now, there's not really much else on that in terms of news. So let's move to the next thing on the docket. Warner Brothers Interactive may not be sold off after all. A few weeks ago, I think it was a week ago or 2 weeks ago, Warner Brothers Interactive was looking to be sold off because AT&T was looking to sell them. AT&T was the parent company of Warner Brothers Interactive, and Warner Brothers Interactive would be just the studios of Warner let's see, Rocksteady, NetherRealm, and etc. And the Warner Media CEO Jason Kilar he released a letter saying that they're no longer looking for buyers of Warner Brothers Interactive and its studios. So, no worries there. And I got another tinfoil hat thing about this article. You see, there was not a lot of steam and praise going on around it outside of Mortal Kombat 11. Like Mortal Kombat 11's last bit of news was the Aftermath update, which was additional story mode stuff, and it wasn't a huge, like, it didn't hit for huge news, but the hype around Mortal Kombat 11 was real. And after MK11, it was like, it was just a silence from anything out of the Warner Brothers Interactive and any of the, Rocksteady and the NetherRealm. So I guess they were looking to sell it off when the pandemic hit and they were having trouble, keeping things afloat because a lot of businesses are taking hits. But when they released that, when they announced that Rocksteady Studios finally announces the Suicide Squad game, and apparently the bit of the image that they released was implied that there's going to be the Suicide Squad game centered around killing Superman. And because of that, when that dropped, it was huge news. Everybody's interested. I'm hella interested. I'm ready for that type of shit. Number one, I hate Superman. Number two, Suicide Squad is like an amazing story when told correctly. It's an amazing story. And hell yeah, I'm down for that. Especially if it's Rocksteady doing it, because damn, it's only so many Batmans that they could do to where it's still interesting. Like, I'm not sure if this game's gonna come before or after, but if it does, I'm gonna have to, like, if there's any type of predictions, a Suicide Squad is a group of people, and if this is a multiplayer aspect with a story driven narrative, then that's gonna be weird. But let's not talk about that. Just basically, they're not getting bought anymore, and I think that they chose not to sell when they saw the hype around it. And these games, y'all might not know, but game developers, their companies can go up or down depending on when they announce something, and if the reception is good. Most of the time when they release a trailer or do a press conference or any type of E3 Expo conference, they're doing that in order to please shareholders and investors. And investors and shareholders, when they see that there's a positive reception and everybody's down for an announcement and it's generating a lot of buzz, then they know, okay, I'm gonna kick in a little more money behind this company, keep it afloat. I'm gonna remain a shareholder. I'm not gonna sell my shares, whatnot, things like that. So that's what this is. I believe is that they just saw, okay, it looks like people want Suicide Squad game. We're not gonna make too much of a rash decision. Next on the top on the docket, bruh, words are hard as hell. Okay, so next on the docket, the family recovers their $20,000 that their son secretly donated to Twitch streamers in just 17 days. I think this was a last week article where there was a boy just drained his mother's savings and just donated it to a bunch of Twitch streamers, some Twitch dots, some, let's be fair. I don't know if they're specifically Twitch dots in their titty streamers, but this is a generalized term now. And if there's offense to be had, oh well. I mean, damn. I can't cry river for everybody. I got my own problems. But yeah, he donated to a bunch of Twitch dots or, streamers and some NFL stars, quarterback Kurt Benkert in specific from the Atlanta Falcons and Miami Heat's Mayors Leonard for some reason. And he was just throwing money everywhere from that wasn't his. So the most important part of the article that it seems that they couldn't get the money back from Twitch themselves. There was no like direct, refund or whatnot. But it turns out that there was a lot of people who came together. A few people came together and gave the money back to them. They didn't get every penny back. It was about a little under $200 difference, but she was just happy to get what she got back, and she was okay. And she closes, here's an excerpt from the article saying that she closes on insisting that her son is remorseful, quote unquote, and is currently in receipt of counseling. He can now only play games with supervision, and Salsa has permanently blocked I don't know who this streamer is, but Zasla has permanently blocked the boy's account to prevent further unauthorized donations. So, this is kind of a tragic comedy, yeah. So, Machiavellian vibes here, because it's ironic that these donations not only were not able to be refunded by Twitch themselves, but also that the children can just make these type of mistakes with these digital transactions, and it could screw over an entire family overnight. This is something that has, like, this is very alarming. I have a cousin of my own who stole his mother's, he's like about, how old is he? Like 8 or 9? He's about 8 or 9 years old. He stole his mom's debit cards and just started buying hella V-Bucks with it on his PlayStation 4. That is scary. That is very bad. I should go over there and see about implementing some parental locks on that. It's a shame that I have to, but I should, so that to prevent this from happening in the future. But as of right now, as it stands, he ain't got no PlayStation 4 in his room. So that's how we handle it over there with my people. Not to make it a racial thing, but this remorseful and counseling thing, yeah, right. If it was our family, it would have been, these words might have been used for the public, but that probably would have been recorded. No, it wouldn't have been recorded, but that would have been ass beatings, all right? He would have got his ass beat. He would have lost his PlayStation forever. He would have never gotten another chance to play another PlayStation, let alone handle any other debit cards unless his own name is on it for the rest of his life. That's how our people handle it down here. But anyway, and that's not to brag, just stating a fact. Street Fighter producer Yoshinori Ono is leaving Capcom, and for those who don't know, Yoshinori Ono has offered so much in the last 30 years when it comes to fighting games and the action games of the past in Capcom's development, games like that. He's worked on like Devil May Cry, every Street Fighter, almost every Street Fighter. I think he did some work with rival schools titles and crossover games, Marvel vs. Capcom, and just a lot of stuff. And one of the things that he mentioned in this whole thing was that Street Fighter 6 was supposed to release next year, but it was not received well internally or with testers. He wrote, alleging that the unannounced game has had new leadership put in place. Ono contributed to several other projects outside of Street Fighter over his years at Capcom, including Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite and Devil May Cry. So he wrote a little, few paragraphs of a sunset, statement with his signature at the end, saying that he enjoyed everybody's company and that he loved the community, which he was always involved in at every, with any big Capcom fighting game tournament. He's a part of the fighting game community, a huge staple. We all know him not only as him himself, the Shoryuken man himself, but also for his Blanca toys and whatnot, and his apparel that was also often in reference to Blanca. So Yoshinori Ono, thank you personally for myself and for millions of others out there who are huge fans of your works. Appreciate you, and we hope that he has a great life and great future and great career. Because I don't know if he said that he's going to retire. He didn't say he's retiring. He just said he's going to leave Capcom. So who knows what he's going to do next? It might be something amazing. We'll never know. He might surprise us. But one of the most heartfelt things at the end of this was when he said that he regret that because of the virus, he was not able to join us in the last tournaments of 2020 during his time at Capcom in order to do another Shoryuken with the audience. And even though initially it was cringe, but after a while, you gotta love that lovable, like, crazy ball of idiocy that is innocent Yoshinori Ono. It just loves what he does. And when he count down to 3, 2, 1, you better Shoryuken, and everybody would join in, and it became more and more of a thing. Even now, when I'm watching Ares stream, I still remember when he first revealed Kage in Street Fighter 5. The boy, it became one of his Twitch donation notifications, and he was just like, he meant to say, now in your home living room or your room, enjoy playing Kage or something along those lines. But it came out, because he's not that great with the English, but it came out as, in your home, in your room, in your room, Kage. And so it became like the biggest meme You would hear it. It made Eris laugh like about a whole 2 days fucking thing. So, hey, all in all, Yoshinori Ono, we're gonna miss you, man, and wish the best for you. So 3, 2, 1, sure you can keep it going, bro. All right, next on the docket, PSO2, aka Phantasy Star Online 2, hit Steam and grabs tens of thousands of players. It's huge. It's been on not only Microsoft Store for PC for a while, but now it's also on Steam. It even has like some Valve, perks and things like a shell character model and what's the name, Wheatley from Portal 2. It's just been getting a huge player base. A lot of people's been playing it lately, which is surprising and of note because it's an old MMO and people have been begging for it to come over to NA servers for a long time, and it finally made it. So Sega's actually getting off their ass. They're seeing the audience that they have on PC now, and they even announced that they're going to release more games on PC because of the success of not only PSO2 but also Persona 4 Golden. So here you are. You've been missing out on money all this time. We've been trying to tell you all. There's been more PC gamers than ever before because even though you can't really put away your console because of exclusives, but every console gamer eventually evolves into a PC gamer, at least a huge percentage of them, I'd say, because PC gaming not only... Okay, we know about the memes about it, ascending to the master race, etc., but a lot of people need to be able to switch between handling business and gaming seamlessly, so that way they can juggle it in their life. So, and it's one of the things that's great that I can work on and pre-producing something or editing something together or photoshopping something, and then just Alt-Tab go right over to one of these, DRM distributors and just pull out, Epic Games Store or Steam, etc., Origin, or whatever you have, and just boot up a game in seconds. And if there's like a notification of something, be it, some type of social media or an email, I could just Alt-Tab without exiting out of the game and handle that and still just Alt-Tab right back in. Whereas if I was on a console, I'd have to probably, pause the game or exit out of whatever game I was playing and just let the console sit there on while I'm doing something or blah, blah, blah. And you might as well just turn it off at that point because you'll get completely distracted and disconnected. So it's cool. Next on the docket, Nintendo posts 5-fold profit jump as Animal Crossing sales top 22 million. 22 million. Now, of course, shout out to the arcade tokens, all that, all Def Digital. But of course, some of those sales numbers are because of a bundle, because they were bundling Animal Crossing with the new Switch in a lot of their units. But still, that's huge because the Switch got a huge spike in sales when the COVID hit and people were sitting at home. And at times, when you think about it, if you're living at home and there's one TV in the living room, and you live with a significant other or your family or whatnot, and you all hang around the living room, that means that the TV is going to be occupied 90% of the time. That also means that a Switch is the perfect thing to have because of this one reason. All right, gaming ain't no 1-2 hours of gaming no more. Okay, let's be real. If you're in the quarantine, you bored, you're gonna be gaming for about 6 hours, 8 hours, more. Some people will pull a 12. So it's just like, it's common that TV is gonna have to be available to game, and if it's not, the Switch is the perfect answer. So next on the docket, and finally, Microsoft. There are no changes being made to Xbox Live Gold right now. Nothing big is changing, at least for now. So Xbox Live Gold, here's the thing. This article is not really much. It's just saying everybody thought that Xbox Live Gold was going away, but the 1-year subscription was, because the 1-year subscription was removed, but they just said, no, it's not, don't worry. And that's pretty much the whole summation of the article. There's not many other details in it, just a bunch of assumptions, maybes, and, hopefuls. So that will be the news for the week. Now, here's the thing that sucks. I didn't get the chance to recap the PlayStation State of Play. So I'm deciding, should I go ahead and give a drill on that right now or just do a separate video? But honestly, if I do a separate video, I feel like it'd be a waste of content because everybody's already talked about the State of Play and it's already been passed. It's been like 4 days, and 4 days is like a long eternity when it comes to gaming news or any news really. So yeah, screw it. Let's do it. All right. When it came to the PlayStation State of Play, Crash Bandicoot, it's about time. Hella interested. Been a fan of Crash Bandicoot since the beginning, since he was created. Played every last one of his games from the PS1. Missed a few on the PS2, but still great game. Looks like it's gonna have a lot of good content, great levels, a lot of mix up on the gameplay. Hella interested. Hitman Virtual Reality and Hitman 3. Interested in Hitman 3 Virtual Reality. Maybe. I don't have a VR headset. I haven't really tried one ever. But if I do get a chance, I'll hopefully see the appeal. Braid, Anniversary Edition. Braid is one of those games that I tried to play and started, but things happened in life that I could not finish it. But I would love to get another crack at it and play that game. So that's cool that they're, remaking it, make it bigger, better, and more beautiful. All right, the Pathless. Hella interested. Looks cool. Nice art style. Nice tone and premise to it. And I am down to play it. Is that exclusive to PS5 or is it 4 and 5? I'm not sure. Anywho, most likely it's exclusive 5, but I hope it's 4 and 5. Of course they don't want people to, still be stuck on their 4s. They want people to have some incentive to transition. All right, and Spelunky 2. Never played Spelunky 1, so can't really say. Don't want to be unfair or wrong about an opinion on it. Next, Genshin Impact. Been kind of looking at this MMO. Very interesting, cool looking. Not really big on the MMOs because of the time sink that they are. But between Genshin Impact and PSO2, I might play either or. Aeon Must Die. This is the coolest looking fucking game that they showed in the whole thing. And I was super interested in it. Excuse me. But what's fucked up is the developers were screwed over. And they weren't, exactly unionized. And they were underpaid and overworked, and they had to work extra hours that they did not get paid for in order to make that trailer for the State of Play. So, and now not only are they're being laid off or they had to quit because they weren't making money, but also they're just gonna get replaced. And the developers like holding the rights to it, the one that's holding the intellectual property rights to it is just being an asshole. And I hate that because the game looks so damn cool, man. It's not fair. That shit needs to be fixed, man. Somebody needs to, pray for these. Next, Anno / Mutationem. Not really sure. It didn't tell us much about it, but side scroll and looks kind of anime. Maybe if it's a little more interesting, it looks like it got some combat to it. I'd play it, sure. If it's cheap on sale, hell yeah. Want to see more about it. If I see more that's interesting, hell, I'd probably even pay 20. But next. They announced Bugsnax, more Bugsnax news. It's Bugsnax. I ain't got much to say about that. Star Wars, Virtual Reality, Vader Immortal. Same opinion about VR beforehand that I do now. And the difference that I can only speak on is it's pretty interesting how they're implementing the lightsaber use and, deflecting lasers, etc., using the Force, electricity, dark force, all that. Next, Control expansion. Supposed to be like the second expansion to the Control game. I'm the more support that I'm seeing for this game, the more I actually want to try it out and play it, because it seems to be a contender. Maybe not game of the year, but it seems to be a very high contender for it. Definitely nominee. Auto Chess, not really interested. The Pedestrian, hella interested. Love the art style and the premise, looks pretty good. And Hood, Outlaws and Legends, not really interested. Doesn't look interesting at all. Unless I see more into the gameplay or some details about the gameplay and how it's played, I can't be asked. Temtem looks like a bootleg Pokemon or an answer to Nintendo's Pokemon for the Sony crowd. Not really interested. You can't topple the giant, okay? You can't beat the Goliath, and you ain't gonna overthrow the god. All right, Pokemon killing it is gonna forever kill it. All right, Godfall. This game right here pissed me off when they showed this trailer. Boy, was it so trash. The combat basic as hell. What they said, 5-hit light attacks and then 1-hit heavy attacks. Boy, I'm gonna get tired of this shit in the first few hours. The hell was y'all smoking? American hack and slash games just don't know how to fucking do it. And the closest ones is God of War, and that's a shame because it is a clone. Well, I ain't gonna say a clone, but it was a derivative of Devil May Cry. That was inspired by. So how the hell can they still not get it right? We've had several generations of hack and slash games. All you had to do was know how to do this correctly. All you had to do. But anyway, it seems the surprising thing about Godfall to me is that the community of people everybody agrees and they're disappointed in the gameplay examples that were shown in the state of play. And I'm actually proud of the gaming community, because usually it's mostly casuals going, but it looked pretty and the developers work hard, they deserve my $80. And it's like, nah, nigga, bro, this shit's got to be more than that. So I hella respect it. They I don't know, man. It looks like they put a lot of work and time into it and money so far, so it's kind of stuck being this mediocre shit until they like change some stuff. But either way, that's what Godfall is. And I guess you could say that's another episode of the podcast. So be on the lookout. We're gonna be playing some more stuff. I'm gonna put some of the Katana Zero content up for you guys to check out. And while this podcast is running, and also I'm gonna be playing more of Katana Zero on the stream. We're gonna hop back into Valorant because we've been distracted by Rogue Company and Apex, because I be like, the Apex new season is coming, so one of these games gotta go. As much as I enjoy Rogue Company, I'm sorry. I mean, they ain't got no competitive scene yet neither, so it's just gonna have to be one of those games that I casually play with my console friends. And also, yeah, I guess that's pretty much what's going to be coming up. I can't think of anything else aside from I'm still working on the old Kage Demon King review. Like, once I was in the zone working on it last week, typing the script, typing away like crazy, like 11 pages, and I got interrupted for the most like benign shit, and I haven't gotten back into that flow yet. So hopefully I can and get that done for you guys. But yeah, that's what's coming on the channel. And all in all, just let you guys know, take care of yourself, and we're gonna have some fun. Follow me on Twitter at SlimCognido Mode. Look at the Twitch, follow me over there at twitch.tv/SlimCognido Entertainment. And you know, play some Vidget with me, man. You know, maybe I can come across one of y'all, might be able to shoot you, or we could kill stuff together. It's an open invitation. All in all, just let me know. Give me a tweet. Hell, if you know somebody that is about the same magnitude of my channel that you would like to have on the podcast, hell yeah, get them in here. Show me somebody that has some similar taste. Give me a comment. Tell me something. Like, subscribe maybe, and let me know something. All right, take care of yourselves, and always remember the channel motto is intentions are the most important. Actions ain't nothing but loud, and words don't mean a damn thing. Love y'all. Peace. This getting cold as fuck, yo.